Okay, it's 5 o'clock and Chris says I'm okay to go. So we're going to go ahead and call this regular scheduled meeting of the Santa Clara City Council to order. I'd like to welcome everybody who's here tonight. We appreciate you being here, especially our firefighters and their families for the award presentation. So welcome. I'm Mayor Rick Rosenberg. We have present a full council. Well, not a full council tonight. Councilman Shakespeare is on his way north trying to beat the storm to the state basketball tournament. So we'll excuse him, but we do have present Councilwoman Lena Mathis and Councilwoman Krista Hinton, Councilman Denny Drake and Councilman Jarrett Waite. So appreciate them being here. We'll excuse Ben. Conflicts and disclosures. Council, do you have any conflicts or disclosures that you need to make tonight? I do have conflicts with item 2 and item 3. And item 6, but that's all tonight that the firm I'm employed with has had some involvement with. Any other conflicts that need to be disclosed? Okay, we'll go ahead and move into the working agenda. Well, we don't want to do the opening ceremony. Okay. I was just seeing how long Jimmy would sit there. We do want to start the meeting with an opening ceremony and Pledge of Allegiance. We've asked Councilwoman Hinton to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and the opening comments will be offered by Reverend Jimmy Keston, the St. George Interfaith Council. Welcome, Jimmy. Would everyone please rise and salute the flag?
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. What a joy it is to be in front of you this afternoon. I want to apologize for not being able to stay for the meeting as I have a Bible study I have to, be at this evening, but I would love to open us in prayer this evening. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we are so grateful to live in this community of Santa Clara, in this incredible place in southern Utah that you've given us. We are grateful for every employee of the city, all of our police, firefighters, every kind of city employee that we have, all of the department heads, and we are grateful for their service and ask for your blessing upon them and their families and your protection upon all of our first responders. We thank you for our mayor and our council and the dedication that they have to serving this community. We ask for your blessing upon them and their families. May all those who appear before this council be heard today, and may you grant wisdom beyond their capabilities for the council to make decisions that will bring us forward into the future. We thank you again for this amazing place that we get to call home. We pray in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Okay, now we'll jump in the working agenda. We have no public hearings scheduled for tonight. On the consent agenda, Council, you have the claims and minutes from the January 25th executive session, the January 26th combined City Council, live and City Council work meeting, our work meeting on February 1st, February 6th City Council special meeting, the February 6th executive session, and February 8th regular City Council meeting. Also the claims through February 22nd. Are there any changes to any of those meeting minutes or questions on the claims? Also, the calendar of events, March 8th is our regular City Council meeting. Note that the work meeting has been moved from March 1st to March 15th in accordance with our discussion of the budget retreat. And we have the special meeting or regular meeting on the 22nd of March. So, councilors, any question on the consent agenda? If there's no question, then I'd look for a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented, including the calendar of events.
Second.
Got a motion by Denny and a second by Lena. Any question on that motion? Let's do roll call. Does involve funding. Jarrett?
Aye.
Denny?
Aye.
Krista?
Aye.
Lena?
Aye.
Ayes have it, 4-0. Thank you, council. Item C, general business, fire department award presentation. Chief, we'll turn it over to you.
All right, so tonight really culminates the pivotal achievement of what we do in fire and EMS. Saving of someone's life is what this award is going to be presented to our staff. This really, what we're presenting tonight is a fire service citation award. I think it's going to be a spectacular evening. I want to obviously thank council, both councils, Ivans as well, to have that second station going. We had 6 members from our department on scene providing advanced life support. So that's huge on the outcomes. And we're just very thankful to have that. So I'm going to kind of run through the events of that evening. I wasn't there, obviously, but just capturing from the crews. Being in this community, it's CPR and saving lives through EMS is really a community focused event. So we had on that afternoon at the pickleball courts, bystanders there were able to help and provide aid. We had bystanders doing compression CPR, obviously our law enforcement responding as well. So at the call came in on January 4th at just before 10:54 a.m. at the Goobler Park pickleball courts. Engine 31 and Medic 31 were dispatched from the Rachel station, and Medic 32 from Ivans. Took about 4 minutes for them to arrive, and the crews began providing immediate advanced life support. So at 10:58, crews were at scene providing medications, doing CPR, providing electrical therapy, defibrillation, and successfully, about 11 minutes after that, at 10:10, they got what we call a ROSC, so return of spontaneous circulation. For that to happen, that the percentages are, let's say, 25% of cardiac calls that we go on that are CPRs result in the ROSC, but to actually have somebody walk out of the hospital is less than 1%. So it's just something that you don't always see, or you may not have as an EMS professional the opportunity to participate in that and actually see that. But tonight, these folks were a part of that, and I'm proud of them, all of their training that they had over the years. We have folks from all types of backgrounds that have been in EMS for over 20 years. So we had the right people there for the call, and obviously we had a successful outcome. And around 11:16, the ambulance from Rachel Station transported to the ER. And so during that transport, that's when Mr. McCulloch began to breathe and show viable signs of life. And obviously he's here with us tonight. So without further ado, I would like to call up Battalion Chief Fold for the awards presentation. Also Mayor Rick Rosenberg, if you could come up to the podium here. So we'll have our crews coming up. Captain Jason Monahan, Station 31. And Mark Youngberg, Station 32 Captain. Engineer Jessica Harward from Station 31. Logan Costello, firefighter paramedic, Station 31. Shay Holman, at that time, Station 32 firefighter. And then Jacob Tidwell. There he is, firefighter Station 31. All right, so we're going to have the citation award medals be presented by Mayor Rick Rosenberg. So Jason Monahan received the first citation. And again, presented by Mayor Rick Rosenberg. Captain Mark Youngberg. And the red and white signifies our life-saving citation in the fire service. Engineer Jessica Harward. Firefighter paramedic Logan Costello. AEMT Shay Holman. and firefighter A&T Jacob Tidwell. Congratulations. All right, we'll stay up front here. We have two more awards to present. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yep. So Battalion Chief Holden will be presenting the fire department citation ribbon. That's a red and white sash. We'll go ahead and have you do that now, Chief Holden. So this goes on the dress uniform. So. All right, Captain Jason Monahan. Congratulations, Jason. Captain Mark Youngberg. And again, this is a specific to the fire service citation award. Jessica Harwood, Logan Costello, congratulations. Shay Holman. Jacob Tidwell, congratulations, you guys. And especially important tonight, we have our patient, Mr. Michael McCulloch, will present. If you could come up, Mr. McCulloch, at this time. We'll be presenting our life-saving to each member. Keep them in order. Congratulations. We'll have you guys, if you'd like to pose for a quick photo for family. Mr. McCulloch. Mr. Mayor, if you wanted to come back up, you're welcome to. All right. Fantastic. Congratulations. We'll have you guys wrap back around. You can pick up your box.
Wait.
Run it.
Sorry. Excuse me. Oh, sorry, Con.
Thank you, sir. There'll be some light refreshments out in the room out there. If you guys want to head out there, you're welcome to do that at this time. So thank you, everyone.
Let me say on behalf of the city, thank you to all our firefighters for your service. Your job well done. Now, they promised me you guys would stay for the whole meeting.
They said sweet, so.
Well, they said treats. We can't compete with that. Okay, council. Item number C2 is discussion and action for abandonment of utility easements and old roadway for the Solace subdivision. Matt?
Yes, thanks, Mayor. City council members, the documents that you will potentially be approving tonight for this item were actually emailed to you last night separately. So I apologize that those didn't come in your regular packet. Chris, do you happen to have those? Oh, you've got them up already. Maybe just go to the exhibit on one of those and with the map. would be the best thing for us to visualize. Okay, so that's great. So there's basically several easements that are located in the Solace Phase 1 subdivision, which is on the agenda for approval tonight. And Rosenberg Associates has helped us identify the locations of these easements. Dustin has confirmed that these are easements that are no longer needed. They're not in use. They're not going to be required for service of the subdivision or other projects in the area. This first one is on the screen up here that looks like kind of a zigzag line is actually an old historic sewer easement that was originally granted to Ivins City. And so this is one of the items we're asking you to approve for abandonment tonight. This one will actually also go to Ivins City, and so for their approval as well. And so one of the things, and I think Jim may mention this in our next item on the agenda, is if you do approve the plat tonight, we're going to ask you to approve it that it not be recorded until Ivins has approved the abandonment of this sewer easement. But I will say that that the city and Ivins actually abandoned another section of this same easement when we did the Desert Village project. So not expecting any issues with that. Would you maybe scroll down, Brock, to the next exhibit? There we go. Okay, so this one right here is a portion of an old surveyed road right of way, which is no longer going to be in use. You notice it's just a small strip of land adjacent to what would have been the old right of way if the development would have been configured differently in this area. It's no longer needed, so it's part of the abandonment tonight. And then one more map, Brock, if you just keep scrolling down. Then you'll see this one is kind of a T shape, but it actually fits in adjacent to that other piece that's being abandoned. This also it's a combination of an old historic roadway that was originally surveyed in the old irrigation surveys, as well as the extension of Rachel Drive, which was originally dedicated as a roadway, but which is no longer being utilized for this development. So we're just cleaning this up so it doesn't show as encumbrances on the properties in the subdivision. And we're doing that with a couple of different documents just because the one is a sewer easement that has to be approved by Ivins City. I've done that in a separate document. And then the rest of them are in their own right-of-way abandonment document. So does anybody have any questions about that, what we're looking to abandon?
And the reason we're abandoning it, council, is that the new subdivision, the Phase 1 subdivision, provides the roads and the sewer and the utility easements that were originally planned for in these areas. So these aren't needed anymore. They're being replaced by roadways and easements on the plat that's on your next item.
Correct. Yep. So just doing some cleanup on the title records.
What does POB stand for?
Point of beginning.
Point of beginning.
It's where the legal description, pan down for me, Brock. There's a legal description, the narrative that goes with that.
Probably above it.
Keep going. It's the next out right there. It's where the place on the earth where that legal description starts is the point of beginning.
Yep.
Any other questions on that, council? There's no other questions. I'd look for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the abandonment of the utility easements and old roadway for Solace subdivision as presented by Matt.
I'll second.
The condition that the plat not be, we're not even.
We'll take care of that in
We'll
the
take
next
care of
one.
that plat. Got it.
Yep.
Okay, I've got a motion by Lena and a second by Jarrett to approve the abandonment of the utility easements and old roadway for Solace as discussed. Any question on that motion? Do roll call. Lena,
Aye.
Krista,
Aye.
Denny,
Aye.
Jarrett.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Item C3 is discussion and action to consider a final plat approval for Solace subdivision phase 1 located off Northtown Road and Rachel Drive in east of Belisol subdivision. Dustin Garza, the applicant, presented by Jim.
Thanks, Mayor and council members. Brock, if you just want to scroll down to the plat itself, we'll just go from there. But as the mayor indicated, it's a final plat. It's for 21 lots. This is phase 1 of Solace. As you're aware, site work's been going on for approximately 1 year, and the applicant is now ready to proceed with processing of the final plat. The zoning is unique in that it's in the R110 RA mixed lot size, which allows for varied lot sizes of 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, and 10,000 square feet in size. In this case, the final plat includes lots that range in size from just over 7,000 square feet to 13,390 square feet. So the project went through a rezoning process. This went through the rezoning process to this current zone back in fall of 2018. And then after that time, the overall preliminary subdivision plat was reviewed by the Planning Commission on December 10th of 2020. And then the plat was then approved by the City Council on April 14th of 2021. And so this approval included a total of 128 single family lots. And that's going to be done in 6 different phases, this being phase 1. And then there was also a townhome portion of the project, which would be 56 units. So if you drive up on Rachel Drive right now behind the Harmon Center towards this project, there's a new sign that they've put up kind of showing what they're entitled to. If you go to the plat, the ingress and egress to the site will be provided via Rachel Drive and Affirmation Drive, and you can see the access there off of Rachel to Affirmation. So that portion of Affirmation will have to be put in to create the access to the new road, Whirlaway Trail. And then we'll also have Northtown Road coming in to the project that you can see from Belisol off of Kenzie's Way. So that's through the center portion of the project itself. And so with this phase 1, they'll be putting in all those road improvements as far as Whirlaway Trail and Affirmation, and building those to meet city standards prior to plat recordation, which they're doing right now. So I'd like to just go through some items to address with the final plat. I talked about public streets and dedication. So each of the subdivision plats, phases 1 through 6, will allow for the required public streets to be dedicated. In this case, it's the portions that you see on the overhead. We have varied building setbacks, and we have a plat note that's been put on the plat indicating that the different lot sizes have different setbacks. So item 2A is for 7,000 square foot lots, B is 8,000, C 9,000, and D 10,000 square foot lots. Now, building height is something that was a primary discussion and concern when it went through the rezoning and entitlement process. And that being said, phase 1, which you see before you, the first 21 units, that was agreed to be limited to 20 feet in height. So the building height in phase 1 is limited to 20 feet. The project developer agreed to that during the rezoning process. The PC recommended that a plat note number 9 be added addressing this item prior to plat recordation. So I've indicated that here and put that as a condition. Our building official Cody Mitchell's here. Jared Bates, who works with Rosenberg, asked a question during the Planning Commission meeting about that item as to where we'd measure that height from. We need to be clear and consistent that, all along it was a 20-foot height allowance. And we'll let Cody speak to that question if the council has more concerns. The culinary water availability, it's what we're dealing with the Washington County Water Conservancy District with the Wilsford letter or other verified documentation. Secondary water availability, they are putting that in and connecting to secondary as we've asked them to do. Parcels A and B, which you see on the plat, kind of running through the center, not quite the center, to the right there. I can't see the lot numbers adjacent to lot 4 and lot 20. Those parcels are being dedicated to the city for water, power, sewer, and storm drain purposes. We've asked them to do dust control. We're concerned about it is a large scale development, and we feel precautionary measures are needed to protect the general health, safety, and welfare of residents in the vicinity, especially this summer when it warms up and that south wind kicks up. So we want to make sure that there's good dust control. We've not received any comments from the neighborhood. All city reviewing departments, including building, parks and recreation, police and fire, power, and public works have reviewed the plat and recommend approval. For state code considerations, we are compliant with Utah Code Section 52.4202, which includes requirements for subdivisions. So we've met the statute. And the recommendation is as follows. On February 9th of 2023, the Planning Commission held a public meeting and forwarded a positive recommendation on this item to the council. City staff recommends that the city council grant final plat approval for the Solis Phase 1 subdivision subject to the following conditions. So I have 8, and I want to clarify on 2 of them. Item number 4, we've added that a plat note number 9 addressing this item be added prior to the final plat, prior to recordation. So that's the building height for all homes in Phase 1 being limited to 20 feet. And then item number 7 addresses the city council approve the abandonment of the 3 easements associated with the final subdivision plat. And I would recommend the following language be added to that the plat not be recorded prior to abandonment of the sewer easement shared with Ivans City. Hopefully that's correct. Matt will let us know. And then that would be my recommendation. And I'm here for questions that the council may have. Thank you.
Questions for Jim, council?
Is there any estimate of phase 2? I just look at we're dumping a lot of traffic onto Rachel again off an affirmation, and if we get affirmation running over to Red Mountain, it'll take some of that traffic away, but
Right.
They said anything?
Yeah, so Dustin just shared that the one time they talked about just recently, they were going to move into phase 2. As Jim mentioned here on this map, just to the south of where affirmation and Rachel connect, just on that south side is part of their original plat is a 56 home townhome unit that they had came back and said they possibly are going to move and jump over to do that potentially, but there's been no approvals on that side. They'd have to come through and get, final plat and do all construction drawings and everything, nothing. So we don't know where they're going to go from there because that's a little bit more of a process that they'll be to go through that versus jumping into phase 2. The other concern with that, Denny, is that we don't have Red Mountain for affirmation to get back to Pioneer yet until
I understand that.
Regal and
They had
Black Desert.
Their phase 2 final plat is drawn. They pulled it back when interest rates went up and the market, they were a little bit afraid of the market. And so
What is the prognosis for Red Mountain from affirmation south of Pioneer?
the design is done and complete, and we're just waiting for one of the potential builders to come forward to put it in. Cities approved the plans, they're ready to go. If Regal moved ahead with theirs, it'd go in. If Black Desert moved ahead with theirs, it would go in. Right now, it's just kind of pending development.
Okay.
But it's designed and ready to go.
Are you going to address the height requirement or are you having Cody address it?
Yeah, let me just, I'm going to just, I can read from the planning commission minutes, which are draft, and then let
I
Cody address it.
remember when we put that in place, what I don't remember is there's a difference in grade.
Yeah.
And so I can't remember how we were measuring it.
It's usually from the street.
Well, there's two different elevations. You have the finished pad elevation, which for this particular subdivision, all of those are prescribed due to the wash. All of those are the elevations are prescribed by the engineer. So the easiest way for me to measure that height is by the elevation, which would be from finished floor. When a general submits a set of plans, the elevation is from finished floor. That's the easiest way. Otherwise, there's about a 4 to 6 inch difference is all.
Okay. So top of pad.
Top of
basically.
pad.
So the contour of the ground, I mean, if the contour of the lot sets 10 feet above the road, does it go from the finished floor if I build it 10 feet above the road?
Well, that you wouldn't be able to artificially adjust your pad height because these are all pre-engineered
They're prescribed.
pads.
So they're all,
The
but
pad heights are already established.
okay, and they don't come from the street. I thought 20 feet from the height restriction we have runs from the street, not from the elevation of the lot, but
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Typically, the pad's about a foot higher than the mean of the curb.
right.
I haven't looked
Usually
at
a
this
foot to 2
to
feet.
see where it falls, but you will be about a foot above top back of curb. And then we'll be another 4 to 6 inches to our finished floor elevation. Yeah, no one will be able to come in and either alter that pad height one way or another to accomplish better views. And basements are prohibited in this phase.
Other questions for Cody,
Cody.
council?
Will there be any restrictions on like where walls can go or anything next to the wash? I know where a couple lots have the erosion line go through the back of their lots.
The erosion hazard line doesn't really prohibit anything. It just mandates the additional work be done to facilitate erosion protection. That works in place. So they'll be able to put the walls along the property lines.
Okay.
Is there some underground rock?
Yeah,
right
there's
now?
riprap in the slope of the wash.
Yeah.
That's 20 feet or so away from the site. The erosion hazard zone line is a red flag. It's a warning that this is subject to erosion. The design is per city ordinance is to mitigate 100-year flood. That's not to say you get 1,000-year flood and have some erosion. So we leave the notice of, or the erosion hazard on there to kind of provide an alert to property owners that if they don't know they're living next to the wash, they should know they're living next to the wash. Other questions, council? There's no other questions, and I would look for a motion.
I move that we approve the final plat for Solace subdivision phase 1, located off Northtown Road and Rachel Drive, east of Bellasol subdivision, as presented.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Krista and a second by Jarrett to approve the Solace Phase 1 plat subdivision. I'm assuming subject to all the conditions that were presented.
Yes, subject to all the conditions in the staff report.
Second's good with that.
Yep.
Okay. Any question on that motion, council?
Is it clear that we're adding the part about Ivans having to approve it?
Yeah, I think that's
Yes, I have it for
number
condition
9 on
7.
the condition.
Okay, perfect.
And that's something I can monitor since
Yeah.
I'll be the one that releases the plat for recording. So
Okay, got a motion and a second. Let's do roll call. Jarrett,
Aye.
Denny,
Aye.
Krista,
Aye.
Lena.
Aye.
Ayes have it 4-0. Thank you, council. Next item, C3, we just covered. C4, discussion and action to consider approval of ordinance 2023-06, amending Title 12, Chapter 12.22, special events. Jim?
Thanks, Mayor. Let's just go down to the adopting ordinance. That's the working ordinance that we had discussed previously. So city staff and legal counsel have discussed this item with the council in both January and February 2023 during our work meetings. As discussed on February 1st of 2023, this item was to be brought back to the council for approval and adoption. And so what we have before you tonight is ordinance 2023-06, which would be adoption of new chapter 1222 for special events. And so we've worked on this and we've had multiple discussions, and we're here if you have any questions for myself or for Matt to go through it. But this is what we talked about at our last work session on February 1st. That's all I have on this item, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Council, you've seen it. We've talked about it in the work meeting. Is there any questions for Jim or for Matt?
I only have one not related. I mean, it's related, but not specifically to what we're doing. There is a House bill that's presently being considered that would require us to change this ordinance.
Okay,
It's House Bill 329. Yeah, House Bill 329. It's a special event event modification bill. So I don't know if we want to put this in place or if we want to wait to see if that passes. It would basically require a municipality to put into their ordinance a requirement to provide public notice if there are any adult themed events taking place in their city, in a public building, in any public grounds, even in so much as in a parade.
Probably something we could come back and add to it. So we
Yeah.
have the permit in
But just,
place.
just
If it passes.
making notes so that we're
has
aware
the
that
league,
that's
does the league, are they
Hasn't take-
neutral? Do they oppose
hasn't
it?
taken a position.
Haven't
on
taken
it.
a position, so.
No, however, I will tell you that Representative Walter
Mhm.
and Representative Brooks both signed as sponsors in support of the bill.
What's the bill number again, Lena?
329.
That's what I'm not familiar with. Thank you.
Mhm.
The league hasn't talked about that one.
Correct. Correct.
I think we would, Matt, how do you feel about moving forward and coming back at a later date? Because we don't know if it's going to pass or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're ready to move forward on what's before you. So if you're comfortable with it, I'd say we can do it, and we can always come back and make an amendment if we need to. So
Well, if you're looking for a motion, I'd move that we adopt ordinance number 2023-06, amending the municipal code for special events.
Second,
Got a motion by Denny and a second by Krista to approve ordinance 2023-06, title 12.22 for special events as presented. Any question on that motion? Let's go to a roll call vote. Lena,
Aye.
Krista,
aye.
Denny,
Aye.
Jarrett.
Aye.
The ayes have it, 4-0. Thank you, council. Item number 5, discussion and action regarding Title 5 residential rentals and business licensing, Chapter 5.04.170, license and operational requirements, and Chapter 5.04.180, residential rental properties, and consider approval of ordinance 2023-07. Jim?
Thanks, Mayor. So as you know, city staff and legal counsel have been working on this item as well. We've had 2 council work meetings in both in November and February where this item's been discussed. As discussed on February 1st, we talked about these items coming back to the council for approval and ordinance adoption. This includes 2 different sections. One regulates short-term rentals and business licensing, where the other regulates long-term rentals, otherwise known as residential rentals and business licensing. We'd recommend that the council adopt ordinance 2023-07 for this item. And Matt and I are here if you have questions. This is new. This is something we're putting into our code that currently isn't there. And this will help us moving forward for those that choose to have long-term and short-term rental properties. Thank you.
Can you remind me, our short-term rental, oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't have permission to say anything yet. Are short-term rental properties only allowable in certain zones, or are they allowable throughout the city?
Certain zones.
Okay,
So they're allowed in our PDR and then our historic district mixed use
okay,
per a conditional use. But the thing that's unique about Santa Clara, well, unique in our region, is the short-term rental is an issue that keeps coming up, which I know Lane is very aware of. But we have specific zones that allow for these resort communities and short-term rentals, so we have a good amount.
Okay.
In place, so.
thank you.
We do have quite a few that operate outside of those
Right.
legal areas though.
How many? I'm gonna ask him, how does he know is my next question.
From what I hear, at least a dozen to 2 dozen illegally operating
From 1,000 to 2,000 illegally operated.
From a dozen to two.
Oh, a dozen to 2,000. I thought, oh, wow.
I'll say there. So. Yeah,
And how do you know?
word of mouth.
Okay.
We're not watching websites.
You're not watching website. That's what I wanted to get, make sure everybody knew that we weren't watching websites.
I complain.
I've had residents complain to me, and I just wanted to make sure I was clear on whether or not they could have one across the street from them or not in
Yeah.
their residential home, not in the zone that's already.
Nope.
They should not.
They should
A
not.
long-term rental is different, but short-term, they should not.
Sure.
And from previous legislation, we can't go on Airbnb or VRBO to find them and then go try to shut them down. The only way we can do stuff is from complaints from residents, and then we go through that, which we have. We will when people want to file a complaint and say, yeah, we got an issue. We're more than happy to go that route. There actually is a court proceedings going on up in, I believe, at Salt Lake County. Because there was complaints. I don't know if it's the city or the county actually went on like VRBO, found the listing, used it in their case. And the defendant said, no, that's not what the legislation said. It said you can't use it at all. And the representative who filed the legislation 2 or 3 years ago, where it banned municipalities from using the website, said that was not the intent. So they're trying to fix that, but right now it's like you can't even use it at potentially after the fact. That case is still going right now. So
So you still just want photos or video or both?
yeah, you need every bit we can of evidence that those things are happening. So yeah.
Jim, let me ask a question on the Airbnbs. Way I understand it, we can't limit those if they rent a bedroom to someone on a overnight basis as long as they're living in the home. Is that correct?
That would be more for an ADU or an IADU.
Yeah.
So
Those have to be,
Yeah.
IADUs have to be for long-term rental.
they do have to be long-term.
Which
Yes.
is where the issue comes, is somebody could be doing that. But we can't go on the website to find out that they might be renting out a bedroom. So we're a little stuck.
They're trying to change that. House Bill 291.
Yeah.
They're trying
I
to,
was reading about that one today.
Yeah.
And that's one the league hasn't really talked about much. It's on their list, but not in the weekly LPC meetings.
so I can give you a brief update. Our short-term rental working group has been working with Representative Musselman, who is the one proposing the legislation. And we made a request to try and remove the not well language altogether. And he's not open to that. But they are willing to maybe modify it so that you couldn't use the website as the primary reason to go after, but you may be able to use it as the tertiary reason to back it up. So it's still, there's not a lot out there yet. And the reason why is because there's still negotiating going on in the background.
Yeah, I think our biggest concern that cities have, and you'd probably agree, is that someone trying to do both, trying to do an ADU and an Airbnb or short-term rental, and you can't. So.
I'm curious, what kind of a grace period will we give business or renter or landowners and landlords? And
We were talking about that today, and we're going to send a letter out. We're looking 60 to 90 days to give them an opportunity to be compliant. So we'll send a letter out to them, and then also a copy of the adopted ordinance so they understand it.
It
And then
should be on the
questioning.
website also.
Okay, and we can do that as well, Matt.
And a copy of the business license application.
Yeah.
So they should have everything they need to come into compliance.
We have the application online, right? So if they could
I
go
was gonna
online and
look.
complete the
We
application.
do. Yeah, in fact, Ditsy visited with us about it today. I got a copy from her so we can close it, but we're also going to reference the link to the copy online. So
And I think most people will comply. Some may not, but I think most will within that window of time. And then we'll have to deal with them on annual renewal if they haven't complied. So.
so I guess on the website, we just have a business license application. So we'd have to add a new a new thing, right? Or are they just going to be all under business licensing?
It should be under the same one. In fact, the one that Ditzy sent me today, I looked, and at the very top, if it's the same one, it actually asks what the purpose is. And we already have on there
Term rentals.
short-term rental and long-term rental as two options for the business type.
Okay, it's just not online. It's not. So we'll just have to fix that.
Yeah, it's a different format. So the one that she sent me is actually like a printable format. I didn't look at the website, so.
Because it is nice on the website. It's really quick and easy. So just have to get that updated to match and should be good.
And we don't have to modify any fees or anything where we're already using just the existing business license application, right?
Correct. Unless we choose to at another date, but I don't think so. That's
Yeah.
our fee.
Other questions, council? There's no other questions. I'd look for a motion.
Well, I move that we approve ordinance number 2023-07, amending municipal code for business licenses and regulations, license and operational requirements on residential properties as established.
Second.
Got a motion by Denny and a second by Lena. Any question on that motion, council? Roll call vote, Lena,
Aye.
Krista,
Aye.
Denny,
Aye.
Jarrett.
Aye.
Ayes have it 4-0. Thank you, council. Thank you, Jim. Number 6, discussion and action to consider approval of the Vineyard Drive Phase 3 water line replacement. Dustin?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm asking you to consider the approval of the Vineyard Drive Phase 3 water line, which goes from the curb and gutter out here behind the town hall down to Old Farm Road. Whitaker Construction will honor their price. Their total will be $123,375. Mountain Land Supply will honor their price on the pipe and material, $110,760. Public Works Department will install the services and be responsible for asphalt removal and replacement for a grand total of $244,135. Any questions?
Does this complete it? Is this phase 3 is the last phase, right?
Yep, correct.
I'm impressed they're honoring their price.
They're where everybody's slow. Market's slowing down.
I know we just talked about budgets, but this was in our budget, right? Because it's coming,
No.
it's coming out of
This is
the
out of ARPA.
ARPA funds, right?
Yep, water infrastructure, so yeah. Yeah, that's how we've done all
The-
water lines for the entire of it, has been using ARPA funds on that, so.
Well, do you want a motion then?
Any other questions? And I'll take that motion.
Okay, you get up to where it's at. I will make a motion that we approve the approval of Vineyard Drive Phase 3 water line replacement in the amount of $244,135 as presented.
Second.
Got a motion by Lena and a second by Krista to award the construction of the Vineyard Drive Phase 3 water line replacement as presented. Any question on that motion, council?
Can I maybe just ask one question?
Sure.
Do they have a time frame on when they will start that?
They want to finish the phase 1 reconstruct first. Then they said they had one little job to do. So it's going to be about April-ish timeframe, which is about right. I think they'll be that long on phase 1 anyway. The full reconstruct, I'd like them to get that done first before we tear all this up.
You don't want the whole world tore up? Come on.
Dustin, what happens to the old irrigation ditch? Is it going to be covered up?
Yeah, it's no longer used.
No good. I mean, it doesn't.
It needs to
provides no
go.
purpose. It needs to go.
Yeah, it needs to go away.
After the curb and gutter and the storm drains installed.
Correct.
Right.
Other questions? Okay, money item, Lena,
Aye.
Krista,
Aye.
Denny,
Aye.
Jarrett.
Aye.
Thank you, council. Motion
Thank you.
approved. Thanks, Dustin. Item 7, discussion and action to consider approval of the interlocal cooperation agreement for provisions of school resource officers in certain Washington County School District schools. Brock?
Yeah, so St. George City said over there updating all the SRO, school resource officer, interlocal agreements. They sent over just updating the percentages, how it's going to be based, updating every year that they'll send out the cost of that officer that will be there and the breakdown of students. Then it's really operating exactly how it has been. They're just updating from the previous one, just new years to it. So.
Did costs go up?
Dollar slipped out. He's already signed.
This is for our share of
Snow Canyon High School.
Yeah.
Resource officer.
of the
Yeah.
schools that are in St. George.
Yeah, so it's for Snow Canyon High School, which their resource officer, I think, also works with them for the middle school. So based off of that, so we provide the school resource, Santa Clara Ivans Police provide the one for Lava Ridge, and so they'd be the same. Ivans would be sending out a notice to any for St. George to pay their share of that as well. So,
Did the percentages change?
well, it'll change each year based on the student population from each municipality
Oh,
is how it's calculated. So.
okay. So do we know what ours is? I can see that it's school district's 50%, then we're divided, but it just says pro rata.
Yeah,
So it'll just change based on the students registered. And we get a letter from St. George City saying, here's the cost of the officer and here's your share. And then they bill us quarterly for that.
Any other questions, council? Not, I'd look for a motion.
I move that we approve the interlocal cooperation agreement for provisions of school resource officers in certain Washington County School District schools as presented.
Second.
Got a motion by Jarrett, a second by Denny, to approve the interlocal agreement as presented. Any question on that motion, council? Let's do roll call again. Jarrett,
Aye.
Denny,
Aye.
Krista,
Aye.
Lena.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you, council. Item number 8, discussion and action to consider an amendment to the 2023 Santa Clara City yearly meeting schedule. Brock?
Yeah, so as discussed last week at our budget retreat, discussion from the mayor about adjusting our meeting schedule due to the first Wednesday of the month, water district meeting that he's part of would like to attend. So we have brought back to adjust our meeting schedule to move our work meeting from the first Wednesday of each month to the third Wednesday of each month. We still have our regular meeting on the second and fourth Wednesdays of the month. That has not changed. Planning Commission also stays the same on the second and fourth Thursdays.
Any question on that, council? Something we talked about at the retreat?
Are we going to be doing the 4:00 work meeting before council on the other 2 days?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe if needed.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and monitor it and see,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, the hope is we're on the 15th, but if our work meeting agendas keep staying quite large, we'll try to break them up and do them at a 4:00. Just handle like 1 or 2 items at the 4:00 prior to a meeting. So
I would move to approve the amended yearly meeting schedule.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Denny, a second by Jarrett to approve the changes to the normal yearly meeting schedule as presented. Any question on that motion? Not a money item, not an ordinance. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it unanimously. Number 5, mayor and council reports. This ought to go quick with Ben gone. Lena?
I will be very brief. The legislative session ends on March 3rd, so we might have a Yeah.
Happy day.
They're expecting a whole bunch of last minute stuff to be thrown in this week and the first part of next week. So if you get text messages, I've committed to sending out text messages to everybody if they need a call to action for something to let you all know. And then you can specifically text Neil or Walt or whoever it is that would need to be done. But as of right now, there isn't anything we need to do. We'll leave that way. Okay. And then youth council. We are finishing up the first year. The youth have some really good ideas that we're going to look for next year. They will be coming to council in March. I need to get with Brock on the date. And then we're going to be starting an application process for their replacements for next year. They're going to select, for the most part, who those folks will be, since they are their peers and know who they are and would be good candidates. And we'll have those new folks in place probably by the first part of May, before school gets out, so that those students know that they need to be ready to go come August. And the fair, just make sure you remember your date. And I'm trying to get with a few people to get our display ready for the fair. And I think that's everything I got going on right now.
When are the dates? And I should know that.
You should know.
And
That's
it's
okay.
probably in my phone.
The parade is on the 18th. So make sure the evening of the 18th you have blocked out. It starts at the Washington Rec Center. It ends downtown by their veterans area. I don't know where that is. I don't know if it's by just west of Town Hall over there, but it's at their veterans area. And then the fair's the rest of that through that week and that weekend. So you could go over anytime starting on like the 20th to see the display through the weekend. That's the same weekend as mid-year for the league.
That's the same week.
It's
as
the very
mid-year.
same, very same. But please make sure you block out the fair. We have 3 entries. I've confirmed all 3 that they have received my notes for all 3. So we'll have us, another entry, and royalty. And we can throw candy. I did confirm that as well. It just has to be away from the vehicle.
Budget.
Lena, will the youth council get any sort of a certificate or something to show that they served and
I'm
maybe used
working
for
on it.
college applications?
I want to do something, but I'm working on it. I haven't figured out
We will
what,
have them.
Got
We'll
it.
have them. They'll be here and
Coins will
Are
be
the-
here.
coins.
the new coins.
Be nice if there was some that
Jesus.
they needed to like
Oh,
include,
that would be
Proof.
awesome.
And a certificate for
Yeah,
like college applications.
yes. Yeah,
And a puzzle.
it's worked out great. I've actually had 2 of them ask me for letters of recommendation, which I've written. One was for a Sterling Scholar. I'm not sure what the other one was for. So they've taken it pretty seriously. It's worked out really, really well. So, and I think they're very appreciative of the experience. So anyways, cool. That's my report.
Thank you. Krista?
I have a public puzzle update. Yay. I don't know why you're laughing, but
I'm happy.
because you're happy. Okay,
I'm just
perfect. So
I'd like to get this puzzle.
I can't wait.
Puzzles I've done since they came.
You've been
I've been
practicing?
practicing.
You. I renew my request to have a puzzle tournament here or something. Anyway,
Great.
they will have us, they plan to have a sketch of Santa Clara to us by April 15th. And they said they would like a list of what we'd like in the art. And if we have photos of the site, people and buildings, that would be great. So I know you talked about putting together a committee and I don't know,
You're the chair. Have you put your?
do I just do that? Okay, I will. I just get to pick whoever I want.
Wherever you dare is more of a, because if anything goes wrong with it, they always blame the chair.
Perfect. I'm used to that. I'm used to getting blamed for things, so I'm totally fine with that. And then they asked if the official unveiling is September 18th, I'll let them know it's the 21st. Is that right? That's the Thursday? Is
Yeah,
that-
Thursday.
Okay. So I might not be able to be there the 21st, so can we move that to the 22nd? Just kidding.
You are the chair.
Maybe we'll move it to the 22nd. Okay.
Now you're kind of messing with them.
I know.
Other people.
I'm messing with Swift days. Can we move the community dinner just for Krista? Doc says yes.
We can do a lot of things.
Okay, and then that is the end of my update.
Thank you. I'm excited about this.
Me too.
Danny?
Well, I feel much better about myself today because I thought it was always me that prolonged the meetings and now I find out it's Ben. But the solid waste district has just been seeking approval for a CIB loan to enlarge the landfill and to create a new weigh-in waste station and office complex. The submission was placed. It's about an $8 million loan, and they're working on the payback. We have some reserves to take care of a majority of that. They don't see that there's going to be a significant increase in our solid waste district cost to the residents, but I don't have an exact number yet. And that's it.
Okay, good. Jared?
I attended a mosquito abatement district meeting and we had elections of officers and I was elected the chair again. So yay for me.
Have you got any of the mosquito traps that, those the ones that clamp down on their legs when they step on it?
I have like 5, yeah. There was a presentation on the state of the district. Things are really going really well for them. Very fiscally responsible and yeah, things are going really well at the district. And then I attended a UIA meeting for fiber and things are going well there. That's all I have to present.
Did they give you any update on when they're gonna start the rollout?
No, I think it's still unknown. They're still.
You guys received anything?
Oh,
Somebody told me that they had a resident.
Well, Dustin shared today that they hoping in the next, they got their permit and everything for fiber. They hoping to light it up in the next.
The next week, they're predicting,
They're gonna,
where you can
And
actually
it's-
enroll?
that's what they're telling me. I don't know how believable
it
it is.
goes live?
Yeah.
Where?
Here in town, the first footprint.
It would be up in the heights around
Mhm.
Kugler Park and
Yeah, and then
They-
the second will come after, right
That's
after
up in
that.
your,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you haven't received any rollout yet?
I think I did.
Would you throw it away?
No, it's sitting on the counter. I'm just waiting to see.
So you're saying theoretically, I could call Utopia
But it was in,
and follow up with Sumo or whoever it is and enroll as early as maybe next week.
that's what they're telling me. We'll see though.
Okay.
But they got the permit for the interlocal connect. They're working on it right now. They're done with all of Santa Clara except for the HOAs.
I mean, you still have to like wait for them to come install the fiber to your house,
Right.
which will take a little while, but
what's the company that's already got a lot of fiber?
so there's CenturyLink, which is Quantum, I believe. And then TDS also has fiber.
TDS has actually been up working on their lines. And I think it was them that I got with Utopia.
Okay,
I'm gonna try it.
do it. Let me know what they
'Cause
say.
I have almost 20% of my neighborhood who has already signed with TDS and CenturyLink because they got tired of waiting. So I'm really concerned that we won't make our take rate.
Did they have to sign long-term contracts?
One of the companies did and one of them didn't, and I don't remember which is which.
As far as I know, Quantum doesn't require
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
Cause I have a friend that signed up for Quantum, but then he's going to switch as soon as Utopia is available.
right. That's what one of them told me.
Okay. All right, anything else?
Nope.
Flood Control Authority met, the TAC met, the executive committee hasn't met yet, this year. But the TAC met, discussed some projects that are happening in St. George. It's snowing another 3 feet up on top of the mountain, so we're approaching some really good snowpack levels. So get rubber boots out and kind of put them in your car. Shovel, you might need it. We'll see if the weather warms up. We're just watching the weather right now to see if we get any kind of a warm rain that could produce some flooding.
Mayor, excuse me, there was one other thing, and that was the Snow Canyon visitation. We can go to on Friday. They're moving the date, moving the time to 11 o'clock. She doesn't think there'll be any hikes. They'll try and drive and just kind of show us what their plans are.
This is that committee,
Yeah.
Okay.
But anybody's invited.
right? You'll be there though, right?
I'll be there.
The MPO met yesterday and talked about a lot of the transportation projects. There's a lot of transportation money being spent this year. Closest one to us is the work on Old Highway 91 in Ivans. You probably noticed they're doing the widening out there. That was funded via the MPO. We don't have a project coming up with the MPO. But there are quite a bit of money being spent around here that way. The Mayor's Association has met, talked about water several times. And will probably be the subject of discussion as we go forward as well. So I think that's, anything else, Brock? I need to be reporting.
I think that's it.
I have
think,
formed, just so you guys know, we have formed a city water working group that meets every Tuesday. And it's talking about things we need to change within our codes and our ordinance to kind of bring us into the goals of the water district. And so we'll have some future reports. That group's met a couple of times and I'm kind of excited about having the resources of the city to help with that issue. We're still meeting weekly as the Water District Working Board, trying to get the amendments to the RWSA together, and hopefully we'll have some document that we can bring to you guys fairly soon. We still haven't got unanimous approval on it yet, but we're working hard to try and get there. Do you have anything?
No, nothing.
Anything burning a hole in your poppy? Welcome back, Deb. It's always good to see your smiling face over there. We should set your own table up just to spotlight you when you're here. You guys got anything? Still better than Minnesota. Matt, anything? We don't have executive session tonight, correct?
Correct.
So all I need is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Denny, second by Lena. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.